Yeah, the wide angle on this phone is wide. Alright. Matabo, I hope you'll forgive me for doing this, but I just had to. The idea just struck me one night. If I can get the adhesive back off. Boy, this is just going to a great start, isn't it? There we go. Lord knows how long these are actually going to stay on here. I can't wait to see this. Oh, that's glorious. I can see it in the camera. Oh, that's amazing. Oh, that was so worth $1.99. I wish they were, the googly eyes were a little more googly eye. I don't know. Maybe they'll jiggle around a little bit when I turn it on. It's so awesome. So I gotta admit, I'm a bit of a child. Yeah, they're already starting to come off. These aren't gonna last very long. I need to get better ones. Anyways, watch them come off with the first cut. Anyways, for some of the trim orders for the local remodeling company that we're doing work for, some of them require some stain matching, some color matching. We've done this before. It is a pain in the butt. But what we have here are two that are close to the final color, which I'm going to go get it if I can find it. There we go. This is the color we're trying to match. And we're obviously extremely close. This is Verithane's gun stock. I forget the color code for both of these. So we got gun stock and we also have American Walnut. And this is very close to pretty much most of what's in my house. So, wouldn't that be ironic if this is the color that we got to go with? But to get that last little step, we're going to blend it with another stain. And the way I do that to get the most control I can out of it, we're going to do a technique I like to call shade staining. Some people do this with a HVLP. What they'll do is they'll put their stain down, put a couple coats of their base coat in, and then they'll mix whatever stain they're blending in with something like 85 to 80%, whatever compatible solvent is there, which is usually naphtha because it dries the quickest. But what I like to do is I just like to hand rub it on. I don't usually like doing, spraying stain because it just makes a huge mess unless the situation really calls for it. But on these small run orders, there's really no sense in dirtying up a spray gun room. So what I've done here, we got one coat of the stain and one brushed on coat of lacquer. In practice, this will be 2 sprayed on coats of lacquer with a gun. And now what we're going to do is we're going to put another coat of stain on that's another color that we're trying to blend with. And what that'll do is it'll just slightly shade this, and we're hoping that the combination of the 2 colors will get us closer to that Brazilian pecan. These are already so close that I am like on the verge of just saying that's good enough, like especially this gun stock. It looks really, really close. But I want to do that extra little mile and get it as exact as we can. So in order to give myself the best shot of success here and not have to make more of these, I'm going to cut these into thirds. That way it's large enough to show all the color variation that we're going to see throughout the wood, but it's small enough so that I have 3 different chances with 3 separate shade stains to get my color to where I want it to be. I have 3 candidates. One's going to be red mahogany, and the other 2 are going to be cherries, so like a traditional cherry and a light cherry, and that should get us to where we need to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these in thirds, and we're going to get going. So volume warning and googly eye warning. Man, these are just not sticking. All right. And one more. I need to clean my blade because we're starting to get a little bit of resistance here where we shouldn't. But here we go. So I'm going to write on all 3 of these what our base stain is, that way I don't get them confused. And then we'll go over to our main assembly table and start shading these. I meant to do that. I gotta say, I'm actually really digging this ultra wide. In case you haven't noticed, we're shooting on a new phone now, so that phone has 3 separate zoom levels, I guess I should say, but they're all 3 separate sensors, 3 separate lenses and all that. So the ultra wide and the telephoto are at 1080, so I think for now I'm just going to stick to 1080. That's what most people's phones screens are rated at anyways, is 1080p. Even this phone, which shoots 6K for the normal lens, even though I don't have a program that can edit 6K, even though it shoots 6K, the screen itself is 1080p. So, for those curious, I'm shooting on a Motorola Edge Plus. So, I'm going to switch all to time lapse, kind of, and then I wonder maybe if I should use the actual time-lapse mode. We're going to try that. So for those who are curious about how I go about color matching, we've got our target swath here. Now, what we're doing is, this is the vinyl veneer, I guess you could say, that goes on the windows. Now, our customer here orders trim that's color matched to this actual veneer that goes on the windows. So we need to color match it so that when they install the windows and they install the trim, it all looks like it came from the same tree, basically. So, this is our closest candidate here. And you can kind of see, wow, it actually looks extremely similar on camera. In real life, this has a bit more red in it, and this is a bit more brown. So we need a little bit more red. And this one needs a lot more red to match. So I don't think American Walnut is going to be our base, but we'll try it anyways. Now, as far as red goes, we have our red mahogany right here, which is extremely close, but just needs a little bit more brown in it. And we have light cherry, which has a bit more of a pecan color, honestly, which is what we're going for. So I'm going to try that as well. So red mahogany, light cherry, We've also got traditional cherry here. No. This is definitely out. This is Colonial Maple. The only reason I grabbed this is because the color was a lot more red on the actual sample than it is here. We also have red chestnut, which is definitely very red, but I don't think it's going to be the right kind of red. So we've got these three to choose from. So I'm going to go grab our half-pint cans now. I'd also like to preface this, for those who don't really know wood species, everything you see here in this frame, this is all red oak. When I say red mahogany, light cherry, red chestnut, that's referring to the color of the stain that I'm using on it. So all of this is done the exact same way right now. This is one coat of stain, one coat of lacquer on top of it. And what I'm doing here is I'm trying to think ahead and imagine what these two colors combined will look like. We're going to get a little bit of darkening here, but when I put this stain on here, it usually takes me about 15 seconds to wipe stain on a piece of trim and then wipe it off. And I wipe it off right away because we're just looking for a little bit of shading here. We're not trying to make it darker necessarily, although that will happen. But I just completely lost my train of thought. 15 seconds, you wipe it off, and then that is roughly the color you're going to get when you put an additional top coat over it. So I'm going to go get my half pipes and prepare my stir sticks. I'm going to throw you guys back on time-lapse mode because I really liked how that actually turned out. So here we go. Alright, now we're shooting on the telephoto camera. So what I do, sorry about the crickets by the way, it's just that time of year. So we take our cloth like this. I don't really bother wearing gloves for this because I don't use enough stain to warrant it. We're just going to dip it lightly in here. And at first you're going to be like, whoa, that doesn't match at all, but wait till we wipe it off. Now me saying that, it's probably not going to match at all. This might actually be our ticket, now that I'm looking at it. Alright, so when I started counting down to 15 in my head. Wipe off our excess. It doesn't look like much, but wow, that is really close. I say really close. It might be an exact match. I'm going to have to look at it with the camera on my phone because I've got an app that tells me RGB values. That's how I color match, by the way. As long as it's within 5 on every value, I'm good. Yeah, that's damn near dead on. In fact, I could probably wipe it again. Just leave it, and it would probably be that's a little too far. So go ahead and wipe that off again. And when I run this contract, I'm going to be keeping this on me at all times, color matching as I go. That is so close, it's not even funny. Wow. Well, I tell you, it's a pain in the butt to do, but when the results come out, you really, really, really love it. All right, let's go ahead and do American Walnut. That's our best candidate so far. I wasn't really sure how well this is going to match, but it looks like we're not going to have too much trouble. Still in frame, yes I am. I'm dripping on the wood. Yeah, I have a feeling this is going to be too dark. It's going to be a beautiful color, no doubt. It's just not going to be the color we're after. I'll wipe it a little early just to maybe counteract that. Yeah, I think the American Walnut is just going to be too dark. Yep. Gorgeous color, but it's just too dark. Alright. There's our red mahogany. And I don't know if I want to film the rest of this. I'll stop it here. I'll do the rest off camera and then I'll show you the results. Alright, so now you can see how little it changes that color, but sometimes that little bit is just all you need. So this is gunstock with light cherry. I think that's going to be our winner, honestly. Either that or the red mahogany. That's red chestnut. Red mahogany. They are so similar. When you get this close, honestly, your choice is going to come down to what the camera says is closest, because this one is a little bit more red, but I think this is more the red we're looking for. And what we're going to do is we're going to wait probably 4 to 5 hours. That's not based on any sort of directions on the back of the products or anything like that. That's just based on personal experience. I have done this before, this color matching stuff, and what I did last time was I used shellac, but that was done during some really humid days, and it was just a pain in the butt. So I have a lot more experience with lacquer than I do shellac, so that's what I decided is going to be our clear coat here. Because lacquer you can spray in a lot more conditions than you can shellac and get away with it, because there are a lot more solvents that all have different evaporation rates and temperatures that they work well in. With lacquer, your main choices are lacquer thinner, obviously. You can use xylene if you need it to dry really slowly. Or if you're in the wintertime, you can use acetone and it'll dry really quickly. So it depends on, to avoid what is called blushing, where the clear coat will fog up because it's too thick and it's not evaporating at the right rate. You need to control the amount of solvent and the type of solvent depending on the humidity and the temperature to avoid the blushing. And that's why you have, you can also use toluene, but I don't know of anyone who actually uses toluene, because it is like some of the most toxic stuff out there. So is xylene. I don't think I've ever used xylene to thin anything. I've used it to clean oil-based polyurethane out of a spray gun before, but that's the only thing I use xylene for besides getting PSA adhesive off of disc sanders. That's the main reason I have xylene, because it's just such a toxic chemical. It's a damn good solvent, but it's toxic, don't get me wrong. Not to say lacquer thinner is any better, but lacquer thinner is a lot cheaper than xylene is. And it's more designed for that task. But these, I think, are going to be our two candidates here. The American Walnut didn't really show any promising results, so it's a gorgeous color, don't get me wrong. It's just not the color we're looking for. And I had a lot of that the last time I did this. It was a large order. It was an expensive order. If the customer who ordered that is watching now, this is the reason it was so expensive, is because I had to do all of this for pine, which is one of the most expensive and troublesome woods to color match. Red oak is way more forgiving, and now that I've got the process down, what labor is going to be cut down a lot. I'm only charging by the linear foot for this anyways, and the way I charge for color matching versus paint is just 20 cents extra per linear foot, which is nothing. So, and I still make money on the end. So, if you can charge a fair price for even difficult stuff like this, you're going to have happy customers, and they'll keep coming back to you. So, I just wanted to show off. I'm really interested, by the way, if this even makes it onto Instagram. If not, I'll DM you, and I want to see your thoughts on how you color match versus the way I do it. I know some guys will mix the stains beforehand. I like this method because I can get a base that's really, really close, and then I can just shade it through the clear coat, and that gives me a lot more control. So I'd be curious to see what you think of this process. I'm talking about broken oak restoration, by the way. He and I have traded ideas about pricing and methods of going about doing stuff before. So I'd definitely like to get your input on this, man. This is the way I do it. This is the way I've done it since day one. And it's the way I'm happiest with doing it. The reason I don't mix stains and just apply all the stain in one go is if you get it wrong, you are out a lot more money than you are doing it this way. It is a little bit quicker, but I think I'm just happier with the way I get results with this method. So this is another order that's ready to go. And this is pine. This is probably the happiest I've ever been with pine that I've run, because it is kind of a difficult wood to get smooth and keep it smooth, especially when you're using water-based paints and products like I am. But this is the last day this order will be here. It gets delivered tomorrow. It's dry. I just want to give it another day before I wrap this up with basically Glad wrap, industrial Glad wrap. It's plastic that I wrap it with, and that's just for transport. But I still have to cut the snipe off the ends of these, and then we'll label them and then deliver them tomorrow. So yeah. Alright guys, well that's going to conclude today's video. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comments below. If you're watching this on YouTube, I would appreciate subscribing and liking the video. That really helps. And if you're on Instagram, just wave and say hello in the comments. And be sure to like the video. I've been kind of throwing around the idea of, on YouTube, do I want to do just woodworking content, or do I want to do a little bit of everything? Since I got this new camera, I definitely enjoy making other videos as well, so I don't know, just let me know how you would feel about maybe a little bit more live content thrown in. I know you can't really do that on Instagram these days because you get thrown down in the algorithm because you're not a focused Instagram page anymore at that point, but I don't know, if people want to see more of just regular day-to-day life stuff, just let me know. I'm sure I'll try it out for a little bit, and if I don't like it, I'll just stick to woodworking stuff. But as far as content goes, I mainly just do molding these days, so trying to find interesting stuff to share with you guys is a little difficult sometimes when you pretty much do the same thing day after day. So, let me guys, let me know if you guys have any ideas as to what you'd just like to see. So, with that being said, hope you have a good one. See you in the next one.